You could eat your dinner off that head tube. The new Ridley Noah Fast 3.0 is here, and it's fat with a capital P. It is as modern as road racing bikes get. And on paper, I should hate it. So let's see if I do. Welcome to First Look, the series where we check out new and interesting bits of tech and give you the rundown on the things that actually matter. Let's get into it. This video is not sponsored, we're not being paid. This is Ridley's bike and we're just borrowing it. And it's a size extra small. Full carbon frame with a big fat carbon fork, massive head tube, disc brakes, Ultegra Di2, DT Swiss carbon wheels, and a size matched 75 stack and 100mm reach cockpit. It's also red, which is the fastest colour.
Let's weigh the bike. This one has a Garmin mount and Fidlocks and no pedals. It's pretty beefy and typically aero bikes are heavier, so let's see what it comes in at. 8.02 kilos is some useless information for you. What the hell is this bike? It is absurd. I'm literally getting twinges in my back. It's so long, but then it's kind of high at the front as well. It is weird, like odd, like legitimately weird. Oh, it has the good vroom vroom sound.
This handles so well. I'm sad we don't live in a place that has switchbacks. Actually, there is one switchback in the northeast, but we're not near it today. I'd love to take this to the mountains.
This bike is so fast. It's properly fast. You don't have to do anything. Like, did you see how quick I just caught up to the camera without pedaling? That is bonkers.
So who is this for? It's a race bike for Tour de France athletes. More so than any other bike has ever been, which we'll discuss in a minute. It's long, it's low, it's going to suit flexible, strong riders. That doesn't mean if you're not strong and flexible you can't ride it though, you just might get uncomfortable after a bit. It is well fast though, so if you're after speed, maybe buy one. I don't care.
So a couple of years ago, the UCI changed their rules on how fat tubes could be. And it's taken bike manufacturers a couple of years to then make new bikes and release them, and this is kind of some of the first that we're seeing with bigger tube profiles, which should, in theory, be more aerodynamic and faster. That's why the head tube is so big. It does catch the wind though, to be honest, and there's very big deep wheels on here as well. Definitely not the worst I've ridden, but it is quite windy today, and I am noticing it. You just fight it a bit when there's gusts of wind. I haven't ended up in a bush or anything yet.
Things get weird here. The sizing. There are 5 sizes, ranging from extra small to large. At first, looking at the reach figures, the horizontal distance between the bottom bracket and the center of the head tube, my head nearly exploded. The geometry chart makes it look so long. But is it? Well, it is long because it's a race bike, but it's nowhere near as long as the chart makes it look, because the seat tube angles are very steep. A couple of degrees steeper than most other racing bikes. That seems like a small amount, but it results in more change to your position than you think. The greater this angle, the further forward your saddle's going to be in relation to the bottom bracket. To compensate for this, they then made the reach longer, so you're not all cramped up. Essentially what they've done is move the bottom bracket back a couple of centimeters. What does this result in? A more open hip angle, so you can get lower at the front and still be able to pedal, something that the pros will love. Potentially better utilization of your quads, potentially less strain through your back, potentially more comfort climbing in the saddle. All things you can get by just slamming your saddle forwards or using an inline seat post on a normal bike, like I've been doing for ages. And ultra people have been doing for a bit as well. And Dave Lloyd has been doing this for even longer. What a legend. But on bikes with traditional geometry like mine, when you do this, it's a compromise because you're putting your body further forward in relation to the wheelbase, therefore affecting the handling of your bike. The Ridley Noah avoids this. Wheels and body are in the same place, bottom bracket further back. That's why it still handles well. On a final note, bike fit is incredibly personal, so at the end of the day, it's great that the saddle has rails that you can move back and forth on, and a seat post goes up and down, unless it's stuck. And stem lengths can be changed. In this case, for the small price of 349 quid just to configure it when you're buying the bike on the website. I did say it was expensive.
I really thought before riding this that The seat tube angle would mean the geometry was nowhere near as bad as it looked on the chart, but it's still astronomically long. You need the longest arms in the world to be able to ride this bike, or you're just super fit and like 16. If you're not, just do some stretching or something, because it's not going to be very comfortable otherwise. Although I'm kind of getting into it the longer I ride. I jumped on the bike Jimmy is on. I was like, why is it so short? What's going on?
The handlebars are one piece, and there's a few different height options. There's 55mm, 75mm, and 100mm. In each of those stack options, there's then 5 different stem lengths. 15 options! Amazing. But there's a catch. There's only one width of handlebar. They all measure 36cm at the hoods and 40cm at the drops. The Noah Fast is ridden by the riders at the Uno X Pro team, and they have a handlebar which is 33cm at the hoods and 37 on the drops. But you can't buy those. Pros only. Oh, and it's worth mentioning, you can add 20mm more underneath the stem, in addition to those different stem heights you have. So it is fairly adjustable this way.
Look at this. If I actually simulate shifters at the tops, all of a sudden, we've got a correct riding position.
Also, we'll just get you a 2cm stem.
Oh my God. Have you seen the llamas? Extra small. Can you believe this is an extra small? I've had to bring it onto the grass so it's safe for me to ride. On paper, I legitimately thought I was going to just despise everything about this bike. And don't get me wrong, I don't love it, but it reminds me of 15-year younger Jimmy when all I gave any cares about was how fast I could ride a bike. And I had a massive stem and I had a really long aggressive position and it felt fast and I was kind of fast, not as fast as Francis, but I was kind of fast. And you know, it's like a feel, isn't it? You get that feeling of, oh yeah, if I push the pedals on that, I'm gonna be a rocket ship. And that's what this bike oozes. It oozes rocket ship.
Price. I mean, it's a Tour de France bike. What are you expecting? It's really expensive. With Ultegra and DT Swiss wheels, it costs €8,799 or €11,499 with Dura Ace. There's a couple of thousand less than the Colnago, which is the other big aero bike at the moment. Frame set on its own is €5,499, but you do get the handlebars included and the seat post. What a bargain.
We have a bit of a pet peeve with bikes that we receive, whereby the shifter is set up to look pretty rather than actually be functional. So they put them so far forward that when you're actually holding it, there's just nothing there. There's meant to be a shifter in my hand, but there's not, it's just air. It's uncomfortable. If I was setting these up, this point would be like this. I'll give Ridley the benefit of the doubt in that, as they've told us, these bikes are typically sold to a bike shop. So you would go to the bike shop and you would go, what have you done to my shifters? Sort them out, mate. Then they'll sort the tape out for you. So maybe they have that on that side. However, it just doesn't make sense. It's not very comfortable. So this bike currently is only available with 172.5 cranks, which is pretty much good for no one apart from all of the giants in the world. We did email them about it and they said that they do plan for it to be available 165s and 170s. But also they're not a direct-to-consumer brand. So they're typically sold through bike shops. So when you were buying it, you could have a chat with a bike shop and say, 172.5s is for no one. Give me 165s, thank you very much.
Well, it's for someone.
Yeah, Mr. No One.
Yeah.
My old band used to have a song called Mr. Nobody. It's for him.
If you're in the market for a big fat aero bike like this Ridley, you might also want to check out the Colnago Y1 RS. It's big and fat and aero and even more expensive, so you can show it off to people. Or the Cervelo S5, currently being ridden by Visma Lease a Bike in the World Tour. If you're in the market for a bike with a really steep seat angle though, you might want to check out the Standard, which funnily enough we're reviewing at the same time as this one. That's not as aggressive, and it's certainly not as aero, although it does have some aero-y features, but it's aluminium, and I'm only mentioning this because seat tube angle.
Oh, it's so fast.
To make the front end of this bike as aero as possible, they had to implement a steering lock, which is what it sounds like. Your steering locks when you go past a certain degree. A few other aero bikes have steering locks like this. This one's not the worst, but it is something that you should know about because it can catch you by surprise when you're riding slow speed in a car park, or if you were to commute on this bike through a city. Why would you do that? You shouldn't do that. You're laughing, but people will. Yes, yes they will. How else are you going to win the North Bank World Champs? Oh, there's one more thing about these handlebars. When we got this bike out of the box, whatever's going on with the brake hoses inside the headset, there's some crunching noise going on, and it's actually got better since we've been riding it a bit, but you can still hear noise. We emailed Ridley about this and said, what's the deal? They said they only sell through bike shops, and it would be up to the bike shop to make sure there wasn't any last little bits that are making noise before it went to a customer. They shipped this directly to us, so they said that's why it got missed. Of course, you can do things like put foam inside around the hoses to stop rattling around inside a frame, but here they haven't done that, so it makes a noise.
We've come back, we've chucked the house wheels on, we're now going back out to test the bike with our house wheels. This front brake needs setting up. We are going back into the studio to set up the front disc brake before we take the house wheels out. So the house wheels, if you don't know, are always the same wheels. They're these alloy DT Swiss rims set up with whatever tyre these are, Pirelli P7s. We put them on all of the bikes that we test so we can get a feel for how much the usually very expensive wheel set contributes to how good the bike feels. We want to know how good the frame feels, so we bang our house wheels on. And that's what we've got here.
We have fixed the brake. The wheels are going round now, which always helps. And you know what? The frame is remarkably smooth. How is it this good? Obviously, we're taking it on some gravel because this is 34mm tyre clearance. It is a gravel bike. Oh, this is paved but bumpy. Whoa! For a big fat aero frame.
Whoa!
Not bad. We're going to get killed by a tractor. How did he get down here? Yeah, it was. The lady says it's bike versus tractor. Is that a YouTube video?
What, bike versus tractor?
Yeah. Well, she just came up with it. Do you have to pay for it now? Maybe. So to summarise, very smooth, even with the house wheels on, and they have skinny, quite hard compound tyres compared to the ones that we had on before. So yeah, buttery smooth. Well done, Ridley.
Okay, I really wanted to hate this bike, but I really like it. It handles so well. Is it practical as an everyday road bike? Not any less than any of the other World Tour very aero bikes, except for the steering lock. If that is going to annoy you, stay away from here. But it's nowhere near as bad as some other steering locks that I've experienced. I wish the size labelling was better, because Jimmy should be on an extra small, and he's not an extra small person. And I'm sure this isn't the last you're going to see of really steep seat angles on race bikes coming out.
I genuinely think this could have been a god tier bike. It rides so fast, it is buttery smooth, it climbs fantastically, it just feels so fast. It actually puts a smile on my face because it feels so fast. It's like it's the closest I've ridden thus far to the all-elusive Dogma F. Is that what it was called? Yes, the all-elusive Dogma F, because that Dogma F was just like butter and fast, and this is so close to it. I just can't get over that the only way I can get this bike to fit me is in an extra small, potentially even with aftermarket bar and stem to make it a bit shorter, because the shortest stem they offer is an 85, which I actually think probably measures more like 100. I just can't get over that. Like, that wants me just to instantly put it in the bin, because who is this bike for? 5'10" people and above only. Like that is bonkers in this day and age. Of course, I am not the target audience. It's a pure pedigree race bike. I just want to be able to buy it. I want to be able to ride that bike because it's butter. Definitely want to give them some props because we have dug deep into all of the marketing for this bike. Yes, they claim that at 50 kilometers per hour, it's 8.5 watts faster. Who's riding at 50 kilometers per hour if that aren't professionals? I don't know. Probably one or two of you, but not many more. Some of you think you probably do, but you don't. All of that marketing talks about this being a pedigree race bike for racers. And it's really nice to see that they are not even attempting to tell people that just want a nice, comfortable recreational bike to ride with their mates. They're not even trying to sell this bike to those people. They are not trying to sell this bike to me, and I'm okay with that, and clearly they're okay with that. So 10 out of 10 for their language being appropriate for the product that they are selling. Thank you for getting that right, Ridley. It's so correct in that respect, I'm gonna not put them in the bin. What do the signs say? Because I can't see them, the paper rolls in the way. We've definitely got some adjustments to make to the studio still, haven't we? Work in progress, Francis, work in progress. It's so, like, I literally, one bit of me wants to put it in God tier, the other bit wants to put it in the bin. I want this bike if it's available for people under 5'10", which I would argue it isn't unless you are a racing snake. My back does not bend suitably for this bike.
So what you're saying is that you want an endurance version, geometry version of that bike, but exactly the same, not a lower carbon or anything like that, which I think is fair. And I think we've argued that why don't brands do this more? That idea. It's been a long day. I hope that sentence, if you just rearrange the words, it probably makes sense. It's proper good, but only just.